A journey through desert. Till a few years back, I did not have a driver and used to drive everywhere myself. The petrol pump where I filled petrol from had a service station beside it. Some Saturdays, I would take my car to that service station and stay there until it was serviced. There were two boys, perhaps 14 years of age, who worked there. They were identical twins. One was called Ram and the other one was Gopal. They were very poor and did not go to school, yet they could speak many languages. Though Bangalore is the capital of Karnataka, Kannada is not the only language spoken here. There are many people who have come from outside the state and settled in the beautiful city. Hence, Bangalore has become very cosmopolitan. These boys had met many people during their work in the station and so could speak Kannada, which was their mother tongue, and also Tamil, Telugu, and Hindi. Ram and Gopal worked as errand boys. They were always very cheerful and everyone liked them. The servicing of my car used to take about 2 hours. The boys would bring a chair for me and I would sit under the shade of a tree and read some books. Over a period of time, I became friendly with them and they told me about their life. They did not have a father. Their mother worked as a laborer. They stayed in a nearby slum with their uncle. They had studied up to class 4, but then had to drop out as they were too poor. There was nobody who could guide them and teach them at home. Though the salary at service station was not much, they got free breakfast and lunch and sometimes some small tips from the car owners. They had no fixed working hours. They came around 8 in the morning and went home only by 8 p.m. Sundays was the only holiday they got. In spite of all these difficulties they faced, these kids were always smiling. They never said no or grumbled to any work they were told to do. I have seen children in many well-off families with grumpy faces and no happiness. If you ask them to do any work, they give 100 reasons to avoid it. I suppose happiness does not depend on the amount of money in the bank. I used to really like these two boys for their enthusiasm. Once in a while, I took snacks and some old t-shirts for them. They took the clothes with great joy, as if they were made of silk. But I never saw them wear those clothes. If I asked them, they said, "Madam, we always wear dirty clothes to work because at the station they become greasy." Once I took some storybooks for them, thinking they could read them at night. After all, while other children of their age were studying in schools and attending hockey and chess tournaments, these boys were slogging to make both ends meet. But when I gave them the storybooks, their faces became pale, and for the first time ever, I saw a trace of unhappiness on their faces. They said, "Madam, it takes a lot of time for us to read, as we are not used to reading. Will you tell us the story?" "How can I tell you the story here when you are working all the time?" "We get some free time at about 4 o'clock. If you come to service your car, then we can sit with you and listen to the story." Their two pairs of eyes were begging me for the stories and I could not say no. I remembered how my own children always insisted I tell them stories in the night. I agreed. So it became a routine for me to tell stories on Saturday evenings. I went there even if my car did not need to be serviced. They were very attentive when I told my stories and waited eagerly for more. This went on for many months. Then I decided to get a driver and stopped driving myself. My driver took the car for servicing after that, and I did not meet Ram and Gopal for a long time. Time flows like water. After almost a decade, one day my driver was complaining about some problem. I told him to get it repaired. My old car had outlived its life but was still working. When my driver came back from the garage, he said, "After looking at the car mechanic asked about you. Do you know the owner of the Good Luck Garage?" "I have not heard this name. Is it a new garage?" "It is relatively new. I always prefer to go to garage owned by youngsters. This young man is very sincere. It seems he has known you for a long time. He asked if you are still teaching in their college." I could not think of anyone I knew who could be owning a garage now. Since my driver did not even know his name, I was unable to place him and assumed it was some old student of mine. Though since I teach computer science, I could not figure out this person had shifted to automobile engineering. When my driver told me a second time that the owner of the garage had asked about me, I felt I should go and meet this man who was so concerned about me. The next day, I went to the Good Luck Garage. It was a fairly modern garage and well equipped. There was a glass cabin where I assumed the owner was sitting. As soon as I entered, a handsome young man in a blue overall greeted me. He was holding a spanner and a screwdriver in his hand. "Madam, please come and sit down in the cabin. I will wash my hands and come in a minute." I sat on the sofa in his office. It was a nice functional office. The young man looked vaguely familiar to me. I knew I had met him somewhere but could not place where. I wondered, did I teach this boy in pre-university? That time, boys were 16 or 17 years old, adolescents with a lot of energy. When I meet them after they have grown up, I often fail to recollect them. They look so different and mature. By that time, the man had returned with a coffee mug and a glass of water. "Madam, you have changed a lot. You look old and tired." "I am sorry I am unable to recollect your name. You should excuse me and tell me your name." "As you said, I am growing old." He smiled at me. There was a dimple on his cheek. And then I knew who he was. He was one of those kids who used to work in the garage a decade back. Was he Ram or Gopal? Even in those days, I used to get confused. I asked him, "Are you Ram or Gopal?" "I am Ram, madam. Please sit down. I am very happy to see you like this." Now, I could understand why Ram had inquired about me after recognizing the car. "Madam, I am very grateful to you for your help in those days." "What help did I give?" "I used to give some old shirts and eatables and told some stories." "Madam, you do not know how your stories changed my life. Do you remember the stories you told us?" I didn't. From the ocean of stories in my head, I had told them a few. "No, I don't remember." He sat down opposite me, closed his eyes, and started telling his own story. "Madam, our life was very difficult. You were aware of it. The only thing we looked forward to was your visit every Saturday when we listened to your stories. We used to stay with our uncle, and whatever we earned, he would take. The stories you told us were only escape from the drudgery of our lives. Our working hours were long. I felt I should go to school and continue my studies. But the night schools were all quite far from where we stayed. With no financial help or support from home, it seemed studying would always remain a dream. Till we heard one of your stories. It made a big difference in our lives. Now, I was keen to know what happened next. Tell me, which story was that?" The roles had got reversed. I was the listener and he was the storyteller this time. "Once, in a village, there were many poor people. They all wanted to cross a desert to go to the next village, where life was better and the future more promising. Many boys wanted to go. The elders in the village had said to them, "If you want to do something in your life, you must go to that town. You pick up stones from the desert and carry to that town. Some buyers will pay money for those rare stones." One morning, two boys started their journey. They carried food and water with them. In the beginning, the sand was still cold and the sun not yet hot. Their journey was great. They did not feel tired and strode on. After some time, the sun rose over their heads and the sand started getting hot. After walking for a long time, they thought they must have reached the edge of the desert. So they ate all their food and drank the water. But soon they realized they had walked only half the way. They also started collecting stones to sell in the town. After some time, their bags were full of stones and very heavy. One boy felt it was too much to carry, so he threw the stones and decided to go back. The other boy said, "Let us listen to our elders. Come what may, let us cross this desert and go to the next town." The first boy did not listen and went back. The second boy continued to walk towards the other town. It was a difficult journey, collecting the stones and traveling all alone with no water to drink. Sometimes he felt his friend was right. There was no guarantee what was in that town. It was better to stop and go back to the village. But faith and hope kept him going. After walking for long time, he reached the town. Much to his disappointment, he saw it was like any other town. There was a dharmashala nearby. It was getting dark and he was tired, so he decided to spend the night there. Next morning, when he got up, he wanted to throw away the heavy stones he had collected and return to his village. He opened his bag. What he saw surprised him. All the stones had become big diamonds. In a minute's time, he had become a millionaire. Do you remember, madam, you also told us the meaning of the story? A student's life is like the desert. Examinations are like hot sun. Difficulties are like the warm sand. And study is like hunger and thirst. As a student, you have to travel all alone, collecting knowledge and skill the way the boy in the story collected stones. The more you collect, the better is the life you lead later. After hearing the story, I decided to study in spite of all the odds I had to face. With a lot of determination and after facing many difficulties, I managed to finish school. The service station owner was also very helpful. When I got good marks, he helped me pay fees for my automobile diploma course. I continued to work while I learned. Later, I took loan from the bank and started this work. By the grace of God, I am successful and have repaid my loan. I am a free person now. Madam, rich people are usually scared to start a new venture. They feel if the venture fails, they will lose their money. I had never anything to lose. I had learned this from my own experience too. Where is Gopal now? He followed another story of yours. Ram looked sad. What happened? Gopal's state can also be explained by another story you told us. It seems there was a jackal in the desert. One morning, he walked out and faced the sun. He saw his shadow was larger than him. It was so huge that he decided he would hunt a camel for his afternoon meal. He spent the whole day searching for a camel and did not pay attention to the smaller animals he could have caught. He did not find one till the evening. By then, his shadow was even smaller than him, so he started hunting for a mouse. Gopal was the same. He always tried to do things beyond his capacity and failed miserably. He doesn't even want to work with me. Now he's a peon in an office. I was dumbstruck to hear how a small story I had told brought about so much of change. I had never imagined while telling them that such a thing was possible. I'm not even the original writer of these stories. I could only silently salute the person who thought of these stories first. Did he or she realize the effect they would have on two children after so many years?